There's a small group of directors whose styles are entirely unique to themselves. Parodies and imitators of these styles are immediately noticed and smoked out by movie buffs because we recognize the original artists behind the fakery. Terry Gilliam is one of these unique people. There's almost no way to miss his contributions to a film because he puts so much effort into maintaining and perfecting his artistry. He's possibly the only person alive who could have directed the Zero Theorem and make it work. Certainly the writer had no idea what he was doing, if Wikipedia can be believed. The Zero Theorem is Pat Russian's very first feature film script, and apparently one of his biggest influences was Terry Gilliam's Brazil. But anyway, here's a quick summary of the story. A neurotic and socially awkward mathematician named Cohen lives in a dystopian society. He's hired by management to unlock an impossible equation known as the Zero Theorem. To help him stay focused on this impossible task, management sends an energetic young woman named Bainsley and a boy genius named Bob. The film deals with dehumanization, commercialization, existentialism, and the meaning of life itself. Cohen has lived his whole life waiting for his calling in life, which he expects to arrive, appropriately enough, through a phone call. For all his scientific genius and his technical skill, Cohen is paradoxically a very faithful man when it comes to that phone call. His beliefs are challenged by his boss, his new allies, and management himself. I've said this before about Terry Gilliam, but it's worth saying again. He's basically the Orson Welles of our generation. Even though he's made smash hits and cult classics throughout his career, it's consistently difficult for him to get his passion projects off the ground. This film is the triumph of a small budget pushed to its very limits. And my God, but this film looks great. The bizarre futuristic world is matched by the false beauty of simulated landscapes. Watching this felt like seeing a perfect blend of natural effects and CGI used together. And the performances are good too. Christoph Waltz has won 2 Oscars already, but honestly, I would happily take one of those away and gave it to him for this movie instead. It's the most demanding performance I've ever seen him give, and he pulls it off effortlessly. Melanie Thierry and Lucas Hedges have less to do as characters, but they still give good performances as well. Also appearing are Matt Damon, David Thewlis, and Tilda Swinton in cameo appearances. Now, as I said before, this film was written by a first-time screenwriter, so we can't expect a perfect story. The questions raised are not always answered, but then again, that's in keeping with Gilliam's style, especially with his other dystopia films. And speaking of that, this film's screenplay does rely heavily on Brazil for its themes and issues. Some people will find it a nice throwback, others will say it's lazy repetition, but I personally think that Gilliam and Russian were able to put enough originality into this film to make it stand on its own. And hell, the themes are still relevant today, so I can give it a pass on that. All that being said, the Zero Theorem is not Gilliam's best work. But it is a challenging film which will impress any of his fans. Even in the footsteps of Brazil and 12 Monkeys, it makes for a wonderful conclusion to his Orwellian trilogy. If you consider yourself a fan of Gilliam's work, and you have access to On Demand, check this film out.